King lunged a full-speed blinding punch. Though King appeared to move in slow motion, Jester strained his legs to dodge as they still had to move in real time. He dodged and countered with a strong punch to his ribs. King stumbled back a few steps, grunting and clenching his torso. He roared and attacked Jester again. King threw some more punches and kicks at hyper speed, using kickboxing. Jester, still using Deadeye, dodged all of them with moderate difficulty and countered with kung fu strikes. King blocked all of them and continued his barrage. King's missed attacks destroyed the trees and rocks around them. He was confused and livid that he couldn't land anything when his enemy was such a slow pushover until now. He blocked all of Jester's counters, but would be badly bruised in the process. To Jester, the fight looked like the kind you would have in a dream, really stiff and slow. 5 minutes later, a few of King's ribs were broken, and he could barely move his arms. Jester had a few new bruises from parrying punches and getting pushed back a few meters. Deadeye was starting to fry his brain as he is losing coordination, so he ran away, struggling to keep his balance. King chased him, but his broken ribs made it hurt to breathe, which slowed him down a lot. Jester escaped. King screamed with fury and continued to destroy the land. His strikes thundered across the campus. Jester found a few more berries, then hid somewhere in exhaustion. I can't believe I survived that. That was terrifying. Thank God that he lied about being God. But I still want to be judged. The voices started their usual chants, then he cried himself to sleep again. He dreamed he was fighting King again. He couldn't tell if he was asleep or awake. They fought non-stop for days, then King would finally win and set him on fire. Then the dream would loop again. Each night the dream would reoccur, feeling like months with each battle, before finally falling into a hole King kicked him in, where he would burn with Baron and Baroness. He screamed awake every time. King headed out to hunt animals for food. He spotted a deer and threw a large stone at it. It fell over and screamed. He ran to it and began to rip it apart with his bare hands. He made a flame, impaled the deer on 2 sticks, and burned it alive as it screamed. He howled with laughter. He smelled the sweet, savory aroma of charred flesh in despair. For the aroma of burnt sacrifices is pleasing to the Lord, King declared to himself, though he is an elusive Lord. Jester saw some deer run an acre away and his stomach growled. He stood there for a moment in contemplation. No, there is no way I could hurt the cute animals. I'll stay fruitarian, even if it kills me. Jester said to himself, even though he is now 30 pounds underweight. He continued his full-time shift looking for nuts and fruit, averaging 300 calories a day. Queen tried to stay peaceful like him, but she is 20 pounds underweight and the fruitarian diet is not cutting it. She took her bow and arrow to hunt a deer. She found one and shot its neck. She rushed over and slit its throat, trying to kill it as fast as possible to minimize pain. She harvested it and cooked it over a campfire she made. She ate the cooked meat, sobbing in great remorse the whole time. She put the leftovers in bags full of salt to preserve it as long as possible, trying to keep her kills to a minimum and avoid further heartbreak. Duchess tried to catch deer, but she was always too slow. She looked for nuts and fruit, but the plants would already be picked. Sometimes she would see Jester from afar picking the plants she was looking for, so she went to Duke for help. As Jester was looking for more food, he heard footsteps again. He spotted Duke approaching him from 2 acres away, holding a sword. A moment later, he was 12 feet away. Duke. Hey, Duchess said she would have sex with me again if I killed you for eating all of her food, so prepare to die. Jester activated his Deadeye. Duke lunged with astonishing speed, but he looked slow to his enemy. He missed a few slices, so he tried to stab. Jester easily dodged again and kicked the blade out of his hands, and the sword flew into the bushes. The kick broke his pinkies and he yelped. Duke jumped back in pain and was furious. He held his injured hands, plotting his next move. Duke activated his eidetic combat memory and ran towards him with karate. Duke fights almost as fast as King, which is still too fast for most people to see any of the attacks, but to Jester he looked almost stationary. Jester was still very sore from his fight with King, so he couldn't move much faster. Jester dodged the punches and kicks, then countered with Kung Fu. Duke struggled to avoid the counters at first, but with each counter, he is able to copy it to perfection. After a few seconds, Duke mastered Kung Fu, an art that took Jester many months of brutal training to master. Duke was then able to fight at near equal terms. Frustrated, Jester switched to boxing, taekwondo, and Muay Thai. A moment later, Duke mastered those two and kept up. Those arts took Jester years to master, and his enemy copied it like that, like it was nothing, almost mocking him in the process. The fight progressed. Jester's muscle groups are more developed for Kung Fu than Duke's, which gave him the advantage. Jester eventually wore him down and landed a crazy punching combo, which broke Duke's ribs and breastbone. Jester, "Wata!" He landed a powerful crescent kick to Duke's abdomen, sending him flying 5 meters and crashing against a boulder. Duke fell down, broken and bloodied. Jester turned off Deadeye and left the area. Duchess saw the whole thing and emerged from the bushes. Duchess, "You're pathetic. No action for you tonight." Duke, "Yeah, you try fighting him, you skank." "Huh, do I look as stupid as you? Anyway, if you can catch a deer for me, I will still give you some of this again." She spanked her butt and moaned. "In the condition I'm in, don't tease me." "Well, you have to ask yourself this. Which is more important, my health or getting laid?" Then she walked away. Duke thought, "Getting laid, of course, but first I need to see if I can even stand up." He did, but just barely. He recovered just enough to go hunting the next day. He threw a shuriken at a deer's neck 200 feet away and killed it. He called for Duchess. They cooked and ate it together. Then they ate each other sexually, among other lewd acts. Duke thought, I can die a happy man now, as they moaned in each other's ears. He never messed with Jester again. 2 weeks later, Jester awoke from another nightmare where he fought King for years at a time before getting tossed into lava. He set out for food when King ran up to confront him. King, today is your judgment day, time to perish. King grew 10 times stronger again. Jester activated his Deadeye, but this time slowed his perception to just 1/100th of a second, hoping that would prevent brain burnout. King launched himself and threw a spree of rapid punches. He looked kind of fast, but he dodged everything and tried to counter. But King blocked everything. The fight was pretty similar to last time, but this time it lasted 10 minutes. Jester began to lose motor function, but he needs to put an end to the nightmares one way or another, so he didn't flee. Jester chopped his brachioradicals, in which King lost function of his right arm. Jester kicked his iliotibial tract, destroying it. King could no longer kick or walk with his right leg. King threw a heavy left power punch. Jester was lowering his left leg from the kick and couldn't dodge in time, so he caught the punch with both hands. He absorbed most of the impact, but it still broke his right hand and sent him flying back 10 meters. He landed both feet on the tree trunk and dropped to the ground. He could no longer stand because his new ability fried his nervous system for now. King limped over to him and raised his left arm. Time for judgment. King started his guillotine chop towards his enemy's head, but his shoulder and elbow ligaments suddenly tore in half from overuse. The arm struck Jester's shoulder, leaving nothing more than a mild bruise. King shouted in pain and stepped back. He panted for a moment, then laughed. I changed my mind. I will condemn you later. Suffer in this life for now, you wicked rebel. Jester was too exhausted to see through the bluff. No, please, judge and punish me for my sins leading to Baron and Baroness's demise. Please, Lord. King smirked and limped away, roaring with laughter. Jester screamed with anguish. Why can't I die already? Am I already in hell? Deadeye turned itself off as it reached its limit. A few minutes later, he stood up and wobbled away. He hid somewhere and lied down. This is the first ever fight he's had against King, where he, Jester, did not lose. The fight ended in a stalemate. As he lied there, the voices and shadows were louder and closer than ever. They said, He is merely a false prophet. We have watched you. We have followed you. We have judged you. We will kill you. Then hurry it up already. I have been waiting decades for you. The dark clouds covered him and he fell asleep. He dreamed that an inferno engulfed him, reducing him to ash. Naomi Masora was not around to save and arrest him this time. I am finally dead. Hopefully I have surpassed El Laliet. He thinks he's dead, but he'll wake up disappointed sometime later. Queen watched the whole fight between King and Jester. She was really sad. She wishes she could help everyone, but she can't even help herself. She is like a betazoid from Star Trek. So, she can sense the emotional state of 9 other people, her teachers and her classmates. Between serious hunger and her new ability, she was going insane. She didn't know how to turn it off. King limped his way to an unknown area. A large grizzly bear was attracted to the noise and the fight. It was hungry, so it charged at King. King used all his strength to stand on his injured right leg. With his left leg, he kicked the bear in the chest hard enough to burst its heart. The king and the bear fell down. King stood up, laughed, and harvested it. 3 bear cubs approached and made a sad roar, seeing their mother dead. King threw rocks at their heads, killing them. King laughed boisterously and slapped his knee. Then he ate them too. 6 weeks later, Jester is over 40 pounds underweight. He could hardly move or think anymore. A large black cloud hovered over him by a few feet. A pitch-black arm emerged from it, and its claws were inches away from his throat. Someone pulled his collar and dragged him away. He looked at the man's face. The man's face suddenly contorted to that of a hideous monster. He looked away to see the cloud. The cloud dissipated, and he lost consciousness. King, I can't believe I'm still this injured from my fight with that heretic. That does it. I will shed this worthless meat puppet and ascend to the heavens, where I will judge the world. Most people will be damned. King started destroying trees and boulders again, but with no intention of stopping, for he plans to destroy his hands in order to bleed out and become God. Rocks, wood, debris, and blood flew everywhere as the ground trembled. The impact could be heard for miles. A small dart hit his neck. 10 seconds later, he passed out. Duchess got scratched by a bear last week and is dying of an infection. Duke saved her by killing the bear with a sword. He was experimenting with adding poison to his weapons. He slipped on gravel while hunting and poked himself with deadly poison by accident. He is dying. Queen couldn't find any more nuts, berries, or deer. She was too weak from famine to hunt a bear. She is dying of starvation. The other 3 are dying of illness or injury. They all wake up on a bed in what looks like a hospital room. Jester woke up to find a bowl of fruits and vegetables next to him, with a bottle of enzyme capsules next to it. The bottle read, "Take 1 enzyme capsule before and after each meal or snack." Jester devoured all the food next to him and took 2 enzymes. A woman enters the room, Mrs. Whammy. "I see you're finally awake. Welcome to part 3 of Class S. This will be easier than Class D, as the objective is to regain all of your health. The TV remote is to your right. You can do whatever you want in here for 2 months, but no vandalism, suicide attempts, or trying to escape the room. In the drawer next to you, you'll find a variety of sleeping pills and more enzymes. I strongly recommend taking both every day. If you get bored with TV, there's a bookshelf over here with all of your favorite detective novels and a bottle of THC gummies. I will give you full body massages with a massage gun because you're suffering from rhabdomyolysis from moving your muscles too fast in your fight with King. So don't worry if you find blood in your pee for the next few days. All of your debt has been canceled, so don't worry about economics or anything else. She removed a plate from the mini fridge and handed it to him. It is chili salad and a burger. Jester winced at the burger. You have to eat meat for your recovery. I'll force feed it to you if I must. He bit the burger, gagged a little, then choked it all down. The bean chili and salad was good, though. He took his enzymes. She massaged him for an hour, then left. He watched anime and cartoons for the rest of the day, took sleeping pills, and fell asleep. Woke up 3 hours later feeling exhausted, but couldn't go back to sleep. His brain is foggy. He can't remember much of anything. He felt numb in mind and body. King woke up in his own clinic room. Mr. Whammy entered and gave the same explanation as his wife to Jester. King: "How dare you interfere with my ascension? You will be the first soul I judge and condemn." King stood up and threw an extremely fast punch at full power towards Whammy. Whammy parried and chopped a cord in King's neck in one motion without effort. King fell down, nearly paralyzed. Mr. Whammy: "The gap between you and I is astronomical, in my favor, not yours. The gap between God and I is infinite, in God's favor, not mine. Everything and everyone is technically God, because God is omnipresent. However, you are not the God, otherwise you wouldn't be crawling right now. Try to kill yourself again and I'll put you in an iron straitjacket. I saved your life. God likely would not have forgiven your vanity and suicide. Then you would be screwed. So shut up and thank me later." King recovered a minute later and lied back on his bed, sulking. Whammy took a plate out of the mini fridge and gave it to King. It is a stick of turkey jerky, fruit, and broccoli salad, and coleslaw. King ate the jerky and set the plate aside. Mr. Whammy: "You have to eat fruits and vegetables for recovery. Don't make me force feed it to you." King scowled and complied. "I will provide physical therapy for an hour each day because you destroyed the joints, tendons, and ligaments in your shoulders, elbows, and fingers like the dumbass you are." Whammy did so, then left. King pouted on the bed in silence. Whammy's words sunk in very slowly. "Am I really not God?" he thought. A week later, Jester has been really depressed since losing Baroness. He is now 33 pounds underweight. Much better than the 42 deficit of last week, but it's still life-threatening. The voices, hallucinations, shadows, and paranoia get slightly weaker daily, but they still torment him. He took some edibles. He was scared because of his previous experience, but he needed to feel different. They kicked in. To his immense relief and gratitude, nothing bad happened. The psychosis disappeared temporarily. He got very relaxed, hungry, and horny. He jacked off to the anime girls on TV. Then he indulged on burritos, pizza, sushi, tacos, lasagna, chocolate ice cream, pie, and many other delicacies. No profound philosophical insight or imagining the universe this time, but the animation on TV looked and sounded a lot better. All of his problems disappeared for a few hours, then he fell asleep. He dreamed that Baron, Baroness, and everyone else was happy and safe in heaven, then entered a door back to Earth. He finally got a full night's rest and woke up recharged. His problems came back, but they are starting to become tolerable. 7 weeks later, Jester is finally back to a healthy weight, not over or under. His mania and psychosis is finally cured, and his body made a full recovery, but he's still really depressed, has no motivation to study or train, and has memory problems. Alright, I have to cut it here because I'm out of storage again, which sucks because I really wanted to conclude the story in this final episode. But as there's a few pages left, the next episode will definitely be the finale, so thanks for tuning in if you have, and hope you enjoy. Hope this story doesn't suck too much. Alright, see ya.